All right, all right, all right. Welcome to another edition of Pass the Torch, which, on our podcast, we talk about manhood. We talk about growing up, what it means to be a man, period. A productive man, a man with vision, a man with foresight, what that means, what it looks like. So every time that I come to you guys, I come to you with somebody I feel is a great representation of what a man should look like, what some of the perseverance that a man goes through. And today I got a good friend of mine, Maserati Mike, Toledo's own Maserati. And I'm going to he's going to talk about a little bit of who he is, where he comes from, and a little bit about his story. What's up, Mike? How you doing today,
what's
brother?
going on, Big Trib, man? What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, too.
Oh, man. Listen, I told you when I met you, I said, hey, I'm going to have you on my show one day, and we're going to talk about some of the things that me and you broke bread with Tobias and a few other people
Yes, sir.
that evening down in Atlanta. So
Yes, sir.
as we get started, first tell the people who you are, what you do, and then we'll go into how we met.
Okay. Yeah, well, my name is Maserati Mike, a.k.a. Mr. 200 on the dash, the fast one, not the last one. And I'm an artist. I wouldn't even put myself in a specific genre because my mind be working so much, I be trying to create different genres. So I would say, just all around artist. I just have alter ego, just different. It just depends on how I'm feeling. That's what artist I am that day. So
That's what's up. That's what's up. So how did we meet, Mike? I mean, when you came in, I think we was watching Ohio State or somebody play football in Atlanta at one of my partner's house, and I was like, Lil John in the building. Lil John. He was like, nah, bro. no, man. So you was like, I'm Maserati Mike, man. And I think I heard about you before through one of my sons, Deontay Moss.
Yeah, that's my boy right
and
there.
Then
good dude.
So what happened? I mean, how we meet? Like,
yeah, it was in the A. My boy Tobias, who's one of the dopest, producers that come out of Toledo, the Midwest period. I was with him. We were working on some projects, and he had introduced me to you guys. That was the day we had came. It was a old state, I think, against Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah, because they put that belt on Oregon.
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was a mutual respect, man, when we first met, because I saw something in you just talking to you, without the glitz and the glam. You had all the fresh gear on. I'm like, this guy got to be somebody. That's why I was calling you Lil John and the locks or whatever. But I'm like something, so I got a chance. We talked that night, I believe, this when we really got down, and you told me some of the backstory, how you got started, where you came from, raising your children, and the whole nine, man. It really impressed me. And that's why I said, man, people need to hear this story. People need to know who you are, man, behind, the image and who you are as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially young black men don't understand how hard it is to be great. You know what I mean? You come up, you want the glitz and the glam, you want all the fame, but don't understand the backstory of brothers that made it. You want to kick a little something about, how you got started. You know what I'm saying? What were, your upbringing? What made you get into what you into now, as far as leaving the game and becoming an artist and doing the stuff you're doing now?
Well, actually, I was born on the north side of Toledo, in a very, very the projects that was like, it was one of them ones, like some shit you would see on TV. Like it was crazy back then. And it's called the Cherry Woods. I was born there to my mother.
Crazy. That's crazy. I don't mean to stop you, but the Cherry Woods I have an organization called Passing the Torch as well. That's not a podcast, but we just adopted the Cherry Woods, bro.
Really?
And we're doing programming with a lot of those kids in that project over there.
They need it.
That's dope. But go ahead, bro.
They need it. Yeah. No, you good. The Cherry Woods. So every time I think of it, it just take me back. So, my mother wasn't. She really wasn't really supposed to have me. My mother was going through some mental battles. She had just lost her brother a few years before having me in a house fire, and they was like super close. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was her brother was like her everything, and she wasn't supposed to have me, and she was going through some mental battles, and a couple years after I was born, I say I was about 4, 5. I remember vividly my mother, she just couldn't take it no more. She tried to kill herself and overdose.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah. So I remember them carrying my mother off on a stretcher. She was throwing up, and I remember them taking my mother off on a stretcher, and next thing you know, I was in foster care.
Okay.
And my grandmother was doing everything she could behind the scenes to get me back. As a young child, I'm trying to adapt, but wonder why I'm with this family that I'm not biologically theirs, not getting treated equal to them, and wonder where my family at. You know what I'm saying? So I had to develop some type of mechanisms that can take my mind off all the hurt and pain and trauma I went through. So without having my family, having my mother and my father in and out the feds, he was pimping.
Right.
So a lot of this stuff I did know about and couldn't understand.
Okay.
So I had a lot of anger issues. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Rightfully so.
So I ultimately, a teacher told me one day, I never forget, a teacher told me, she was like, you were very smart. She said, but your anger is going to get you hurt or in jail for the rest of your life.
Right.
So she said, you need to find something to channel your energy. So that kind of stuck with me. I kind of focused more on school. School was kind of like my getaway. So school, while people didn't like school, I actually loved school because it let me focus on something else than what I was already going through mentally.
Absolutely.
So I enjoyed the challenge of schoolwork and all of that, and then ultimately sports, and then something else I wanted to get myself into that can bring out the creative side of my mind, which was poetry. So I started doing poetry.
Okay.
And then that's when my love for music started coming about, and I realized once my grandmother started getting me more and I was getting visits, my grandmother started telling me more about my family and my uncles who were signed to Motown. So
that's what's up.
That gave me something to look forward to, and like, well, if my uncles did it, I know maybe I can do that. So I started doing poetry, then I started playing like this, listening to this music. I start more so blocking out the lyrics in certain songs and just start like me kind of like doing my poetry, like rapping or, you know, just over the beat, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I created that passion for music. And it helped me get away from a dark place and a place in my mind.
Okay, you said that, that helped channel some of that energy, what have you.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out, to what you had to deal with as a young man, because that's some of what drives me for these young people in similar situations, in foster care, not with their family, angry, rightfully so, because, it's unfortunate that people do take on that responsibility of taking their kids and then treat them different than their own. I'm totally not with that, but I see some of those kids that I fostered and had dealings with become some of the strongest men I've ever met. Those that persevere.
Right.
And so obviously to be where you at, you persevered.
Yeah.
So through some of those challenges, what would you consider was your superpower that helped you, navigate? You know what I mean? Like, say, this ain't worth it. I need to do X, Y, and Z that's going to put me in a better position.
Well, ultimately, I'm going to be 100 with you. To be real with you, man, once my granny got me out the foster home, we was in the project. We had moved to, where was we at? We had moved out Stickney. So Stickney is where I kind of got into the gang. I got into the gang. I was on my blood stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of older influences that they encourage, like, I be seeing a lot of people say, like, a lot of older dudes be like telling little dudes to pick up the guns and the packs and all that. Man, a lot of that don't really be going on.
Gotcha.
A lot of these dudes be making their own decisions. Like, I made my own decision to be blood, but once I was once they seen the potential in me, they didn't really say like, oh, don't be you know, they didn't really say like, don't gang bang. They basically kind of was telling me like, where the areas they see me dope at, they more so was just saying,
Right.
keep doing that.
Right.
Like, and then giving me pointers on how to do, you know, it was football, it was basketball, whether I'm rapping, it just, they seen the potential in you, so they push you to keep doing that.
Right.
Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to bang, but don't get caught up into the extra.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But me, I was at my own mind.
Yeah.
So I still, what happens not to be a follower, like I felt like I wasn't, I felt like I was a leader. So whoever I used to be around, we all used to just, a lot of us was in sports. A lot of us was, you know what I'm saying? So I knew I was kind of like, wasn't like a follower, but I had a lot of, like anybody I used to be around was like, you know, that's my bros. You know, the bros, you know, when you we taking friendship, you have friends that's your age or younger or older or whatever. Right. You know, it wasn't just about, you know, a lot of times we be doing bad stuff and we'd be, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, you know, we going to the mall. Like when I met Tobias, we used to be going to the malls. Right. Going to the malls, knocking up the girls, see how many numbers you can get.
Absolutely.
You know
what I'm saying? That was
getting
fun.
dressed, getting fly, you know what I'm saying? So,
and that kind of shaped personalities a little bit.
Exactly.
You try to learn. But I think a lot of people, based on TV, and social media, they feel like, you know, once you're in a gang, it's like you can't get out. They gonna kill you if you try to leave, or you know, make it real hard for you to be successful because you leaving the gang life behind to do that or what have you. So, you know, some people don't know. Is that true? I mean,
well, for Toledo back then, no. Ultimately though, you become, if you stand on what you stand on, and you know, I felt like if you stand on what you stand on, and you are not a follower, and you have your own personality, your own character, and you, like I said, you if you want to do something with yourself, you do it. You don't. I never let nobody stop and slow me down for what I wanted to do, and I'm gonna be 100 with you. So, sports is like out there. Sports is like, okay, we all participating in this. Right. But when I'm doing my music, I'm in my own world. Right. So I might rap something to my homies or something like that, but nobody else really knew. This is my music. I didn't play about it. Right. So I'm building up behind closed doors. I'm building myself up and critiquing my own self. Okay. But I'm doing it to the point where it's just like, I always wanted to be, like I wanted to be somebody with it. You know what I'm saying? So I've got into boxing, I got into other things who I maybe was good at, but it didn't move me how music was.
I get you. It was a story that you told me, man, that you know, that kind of shook me. As far as, to me, it was the true definition of a man. I think it was something about your daughter, and you went to jail and you said you wasn't gonna go no more, or to protect her, you know, something along those lines of what made you stop hustling out here, and as far as doing that illegal hustle.
Okay, yeah. Well, just going to jail and it was this one time, because I ain't gonna lie, throughout everything I was in and out of jail for years. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I've been going to jail since I was 9. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, going to jail was just really kind of like, when I'm in jail, it let me see like how much I'm losing, or how much that I have, how much I have that I'm like putting up at stake. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, when I had my children, that was like the ultimate, because my daughter, my oldest son, those certain years, that certain time when they transitioning into when they're transitioning from you know, because in our life we got, you know, when you a toddler, when you're a baby to a toddler, teenage years, all that, you know, a lot of them, as you get older, them times you need somebody there in your corner, because them the times I needed somebody there in my corner. So me being locked up, me realizing that my kids can't call me, they coming to see me, asking when I'm getting out, and I just realized like how much of a bond I had with them. I didn't really realize the bond until I was locked up, because the times that they could call me, I could call them and check on them and have them come over. We spend time together. A lot of those times you can't have when you locked up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then my son was going through a deep depression, and it was a lot of questions that he couldn't get answers to ultimately, because as a boy we be needing. We need somebody. We need someone, a male figure there who we trust ultimately.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And it could be biological. You know, it's always dope. The best way is biological, because he know I come from that person.
Absolutely.
But just having somebody there, dope. Like, I ain't gonna lie, knowing what you done, like, I already once I knew what you done, and I'm like, I already knew instantly. I'm like, man, if I had somebody like Trib, I probably would have been, ain't no telling where I would be like on a whole nother level now.
Yes,
like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I always wanted that type of figure that genuinely cared about me, and me knowing how to channel my energy. I probably would have been able to lock in more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
to see, and that's key. You know what I'm saying? Because as men, this whole show is about passing the torch. As a man, my job, your job, you have children, you have to pass that torch to them. You have to make sure you continue to put yourself in position that you're able to give back positively to that kid, or any other kid for that matter that's watching you, that's looking up to you, that's running up to the car and like, hey, we see you. Because I know you got nice stuff. You got nice cars. You always dress nice. I know kids flock to that. Yeah. When they see you in the hood, they see you in the street, they want to know you, they want to talk to you, they want your autograph or whatever the case may be. What's your thought process when that young boy who comes up to you and say, hey, he want to be like you, or he wants you to acknowledge him in some shape, form, or fashion?
Well, it's steps. I got a son right now who in a whole nother city, and he think thugging. He think watching what he watching now, these artists now, he think thugging and banging and all that. He think that's the way to go. Mm-hmm. And I tell him, like, son, it's steps. Mm-hmm. It's real steps you got to take. Mm-hmm. Education is where it start at. And me being where I'm at now, that understanding and realizing in society, a person want to see consistency. Okay. So education is the first way of it's consistency. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't like it, even if you feel like school is a waste, whatever, it's all about consistency.
Absolutely.
Because it's steps. Okay. They teaching you steps. Each grade is a step closer to being an adult. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So certain things, a lot of maybe math, certain things in math you probably not going to use, but it's kind of like the most challenging. You know what I'm saying? You might not use a whole lot of stuff in your daily life, but it's still like something that challenges your brain and opened up a different part of your brain to where you're open to different things, even if you might come across some algebra or some things that you got to use a lot of math, you know what I'm saying, in your life.
So what would you tell a young man that's trying to get out? That's trying to get out the game, trying to get out that hustle, fast life? How would you encourage him or give an example of how to make your exit? Because it ain't that easy.
Right. Well, I would say don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning don't put everything off into just what you're doing, right? Even if you're not even hustling, even if you ain't doing nothing illegal. I mean, even if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have a generational wealth, if you want to have a lot of income, a lot of money, then don't put all your eggs in one basket. Open up different doors for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's hard out here. So even if you are hustling, try to create a legitimate business for yourself, something that you can just literally be like, you know what, I'm done with this. Let me open up these doors more so and put more time into this legitimate business, because legitimate business lasts a lot of lifetimes, not just one lifetime. Okay, it's something you can pass on.
So we're gonna have Maserati Mike back. So we're gonna get into more of what he is as an artist and what he does. But before we get out of here, I want you to tell the people, like, it's young men. A lot of young men watch this show, so I want you to just break down how you dealt with your anger, that anger that was causing you to get into the stuff that you was getting into. We're gonna close out.
Appreciating. The main thing is always somebody who loves you, even if you think it's not. And if you don't think somebody love you, it's maybe because of the energy you putting out. Try to find a place. Try to develop a relationship with God first and foremost, and your higher power.
That's it.
That's the main thing. Talk to him. He talk back.
Yes, sir.
Always, and even though, just try to channel your energy, man. Everything, it ain't always bad. It ain't always perfect. It ain't always good, but it ain't always bad either. So,
Yes, sir.
just try to channel your energy. Find something you enjoy doing. Find something that you enjoy doing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it may be, but just know this: find something you enjoy doing. Start off. It's cool to start off. Reset. Start off at the bottom, because it's always the top. It's always the top, and the top is endless.
Yes, sir.
So always just no matter if you might want to detail. You might want to have a detail shop. Start off detailing somebody car. Invest a little bit into cleaning products, supplies. Invest a little bit at a time. Let that pile up, and just start creating your own business. You'll get you some business cards. Look into things where you can do it I ain't gonna say the easy way, but a way to where it's easy, accessible to you, to your pockets, and to what you,
yes, sir.
What you can do,
yes, sir.
with yourself.
I appreciate that, man. And he's right. Ask questions. Ask questions. It's
Always.
always a senior that's willing. People are slow to give you money,
Right.
but fast to give you information.
For sure.
Ask questions, man. Ask questions.
That's
I
exactly
tell young
what it's
people
about.
all the time, ask questions.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as dumb questions. You don't know unless you ask.
No, yeah.
So, Maserati Mike, bro, I appreciate you coming on the show, brother. Definitely will have you back to talk more about your music.
Right.
Before we go, can you tell a little something that you're doing now as far as your music is concerned?
Okay, and I want to say one more thing on that note. That never be too prideful.
Yes, sir.
Never be too prideful, because what I learned, it ain't about what you know. It's a lot of people that got a lot of pride when it come to this music, when it come to life, period. Don't be prideful. Us as black people, we be too prideful. Don't be too prideful, and don't be scared to ask no questions.
That's right.
Because in the world, it's not about what you know. It's about who you know.
That's right.
Remember that.
Facts. So how can we find your music and what you got up now? I know you're doing a little country rap.
I'm on my
now,
country
something.
trap. Yeah,
That's
man.
dope, man. I like it.
I'm on my country trap. I'm breaking into this. This is something I decided to come up with and just, run with this. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I just never put myself in a box, and especially with my grandmother. My grandmother was always listening. She was always listening to all types and genres of music. So with that, I always had to hear a lot of that. So with songs I didn't like, songs I did like, and I just took it and just, I got it. Everything I can think of, I'm just doing it. I'm not putting myself in no box. And so I got a country song out right now called "I Ain't Going Back Broke," and I got another song I'm working on called "Highway." And that one is crazy.
How can they get your music?
YouTube.
YouTube.
I'm all over the place. I'm on Spotify, YouTube, Shazam, Deezer, TikTok, Instagram. Maserati Mike 35 on Instagram. Maserati Mike Goals and Maserati Mike on Facebook. Maserati Mike 007, my Snapchat, and Maserati Mike. I'm on TikTok, but my music is everywhere. So wherever you think you can feel like you can download, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music. I'm everywhere.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it from Maserati Mike himself. Go out and check his music out. It's dope. I'm feeling the country for sure. I love how he flipped it around and did his thing. But that's part of being a man. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
He see a lane, he busting through that mud. And
Yes,
the short time I've known him, I've always heard of him. But the short time I've known him personally, I've been watching him do just that. Changing the game, y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming out, passing the torch, another episode. Thank you.
Let's get it.
Yes, sir.